Anyone saying political comments is booted. Like, you're gone. This isn't a political video. And if you start, saying a political agenda for one side or the other, you're gone. Now that that's out of the way, we are dealing with a time that is starting to affect the toy industry. And people have been asking my opinion about it, and I haven't really said anything about it yet. And I thought maybe it's a good time to put it out there. And that is the T word, tariffs. It's very, straightforward. So, as we all know, tariffs have been imposed recently on goods coming from other countries, and specifically China has gotten hit with some of the highest tariffs. As you know, with 90% of the toy industry, our goods are made in China. Action Forces made in China. And there's a reason for that. And, it's kind of been a standard in the toy industry. Now, yes, there are factories in other countries and the US that can make toys, but specifically action figures, injected molded, articulation and deco operations, that is solely with China. They've been doing it for decades. They're the best at it. And yeah, obviously the labor costs come into that. It's just, I didn't make the rules. I just play the game, and it's just what it is. So we're kind of left with, all right, well, what happens next? And I'm probably going to be bouncing around all over this video just because I have multiple thoughts on multiple things. The tariffs suck. It does, and it's something that I'm watching incredibly close. It has affected one of my shipments recently that we had sent out. Now, it shipped out in April, and we had gotten a quote for shipping, and it was a certain price. And then the tariffs went up a little bit, and then they requoted me and said it's another $2,000. Okay, it's not bad. Then tariffs went up again, and they requoted me again because that shipment hasn't gone out yet. And if it's on the water, it's fine. It's locked in. But this hadn't left the factory yet. And I ended up paying an extra $11,000 for this specific shipment that was going out. Now, that's not a small amount of money, but it's something that Valaverse can absorb. And we're not raising the price of whatever that shipment is. I have no plans to raise prices at this time. And I have to caveat at this time, because if I say we're not raising prices at all, and then by some chance in 2 years we raise prices, oh, remember when he said he wasn't going to raise prices? You have to put the asterisks in there at this time. I was the only one that lowered prices. I want to be the last person that raises prices. I don't want this to affect anything to the point where we have to raise prices. Now, I have seen a lot of companies really panicking now, immediately. Now, some of those companies don't have to panic yet, and some of those companies have a right to panic. A toy company is, or maybe a retail toy company is getting multiple containers per month, and they're getting hit with tariffs right off the bat. Yeah, it sucks for them, and I think on their site that they've raised prices, and obviously, okay, it's big bad. We all know, read between the lines. But yeah, they've put out emails saying things are going to, tariff charges are going to incur and stuff, and they've raised prices on pre-orders for stuff. And, they have to do what they have to do. Hasbro decided we want to charge $30 for a Marvel Legends figure. They did the Spider-Man 3 black costume Spider-Man, and they put it up for pre-order, and it's $30. Now, Chris Cox did say prices were going to be raised, but he said prices were going to be raised even before the tariffs. And I think, yes, my feelings of Hasbro kind of come into play, but again, I'm going to, it's pretty obvious, guys. They wanted an excuse to raise prices. They're raising prices. They blamed E1 for a bad first quarter when they sold E1 a year ago. So it's, they look for excuses to raise prices. I think it was wrong to charge $30 for that Spider-Man figure, but they did. Now, my thing is, say the tariffs come down. Say in 2 or 3 weeks, the deal's met and tariffs aren't an issue anymore. Well, all the people that they charged $30 for that Spider-Man for, are they going to get $6 or $5 back because Legends should be $25? No, they're not. They're not. And if anything, they might keep them at 30. I mean, we saw prices steadily going up. I'm still looking for ways to lower prices. I want it to come down to the 25 or the 27 mark. You know, and that's still on like our business plan to do. But it's like we're keeping a very close eye on the tariffs because it's not something, again, like I said, isn't affecting us yet. We still have stuff in production that's coming the second half of the year. Now, if the tariff situation doesn't get fixed by the second half of the year, yeah, we might have a problem, but I'm not freaking out about that yet. You know, there's people like, oh my God, we have to go find a new factory, go to Vietnam. Well, Vietnam got hit, or go to Mexico, or go here, or go there. Okay, yeah, there's other options. But if you're making something basic, like maybe like a toddler toy or something, sure. But like I said, action figures in general, China is the place to do it. People have tried. Company tried to do figures in Colombia. They did not come out well. That could be a combination of things. That could be the company not having experience in making toys, so they didn't know how to relay the message. Or it could just be that Colombia just was not up to snuff when it comes to making action figures. Either one is possible. I am exploring other factories, but I'm not sitting here panicking saying everything has to move right now. We have to fix this. The tariffs that are going on, I believe, will get fixed. I believe will not be an issue in a month or two from now. I could be totally wrong. Could be 6 months from now. It could be a year from now. I don't know. I just think that, you know, you have superpowers like the US and China. It's like no one can afford this. Now, also, it's like, you know, this hurts businesses, US-based businesses. But, you know, I don't think it's right either way. I mean, look, China had tariffs on us for years. It's like, so you know, again, I don't want to get into the political end of it. It's just trying to focus on tariffs and how they're impacting things and what's going to happen. Now, the Toy Association and individuals like Jeremy Padow or Isaac Larian, you know, Jeremy, you know, is part of Jazzwares. Isaac, you know, owns MGA. They're leading a charge to get to Capitol Hill to be able to voice their concerns about toys and how they should be exempt. And I'm a firm believer that toys should be exempt from tariffs. Now, you know, a couple weeks ago, I just saw that iPhones are now exempt from tariffs. Well, what made iPhones special? Why is it that iPhones could be exempt and toys can't? So I'm hoping that, you know, the Toy Association and those individuals, those powerful individuals, can get through. I mean, I would voice my opinion if they asked me to, but I'm, you know, small potatoes at this point. I've sent letters to congressmen and things like that just to, you know, reiterate, look, I'm a small business, and if things happen to keep going down this road, then it will affect my small business. Now, they say the toy industry is all small businesses. I don't think Hasbro is a small business. They're $1 billion company. Same with Mattel. Now, could they absorb stuff? Maybe, maybe not. I know, you know, I can a little bit. Maybe some companies can, some companies can't. Some companies have already come out and said they're not raising any prices due to tariffs. Some have been reactionary and immediately raised prices. I'm waiting. I don't think there is a reason to panic at this time. But it is a growing concern. It's not something I'm just overlooking. Well, that's no big deal. It'll get worked out. No, I'm keeping an eye on it. Like every day I look at news outlets and business outlets and things like that just to see like if there's any news or what's going on, or I listen to podcasts about, you know, trade and business experts giving their opinion on what's going to happen. And you know what it is? I've learned that no one has the answer. Everyone's all over the place. Until a deal is struck and until something is set in stone, we won't know. You know, expert opinions are, I guess, expert opinions, but they mean about as much as, you know, bag of dog crap, I guess. But, you know, it's unfortunate that this is happening. and it's affecting toys. Because it's like, look, us as collectors, toys are getting expensive, and it's become a hobby that's very expensive to collect. Now, tariffs will make toy collecting very, very expensive if they stick around at the rate that they're at right now. You know, so I don't know. I don't have a magic, ball to tell me what the future is. I just have to make the right decisions as the information comes in. So at Valaverse, we're not being reactionary. We're not raising prices at this time. I don't want to raise prices. I'm going to make that very clear. I do not want to raise prices. I made an initiative last year or the year before, I think the year before, that I was lowering prices. And I wanted to keep doing that. You know, our factory partners are fantastic. They love what we're doing. We're getting great costs. And I think we're really close to the point where we can probably drop down to like $27.99 a figure instead of, the $29.99. But to be able to come from 32 down to 30, it's like no one else was doing that. And, I remember when I first launched Action Force, people were like, oh, 30, it's so expensive. Listen, there's a boutique line out there charging $40 for less stuff. And now they're up higher than that now. So I thought my 32 wasn't that bad. But then it was like I lowered to 30 just as everyone else was coming up. So, they're coming up, I'm going down, and I want to pass them by on the elevator. But we'll see. I mean, tariffs will throw a monkey wrench in that. But that's still the plan. And until we get to a point where I realize no, we can't do that, or no, look, the tariffs are so bad you have to raise prices. But it's like, you have to think about it like this. And again, I'm figuring this out as I go. If you have an item that is, say, $10 and you raise it to $15, or say you have an item that's $10 and you sell 5,000 pieces, but you have to raise the price to 15, and if you raise the price to 15, then you're only selling 1,000 units. Well, I think the profit margin is better if you eat the cost and sell it at 10 and sell more units rather than raise the price and sell less units. At least I think. Again, I'm not a business major. But I think it's more important to not be greedy at this time and to not squeeze the consumer. Now, if prices are raised, then it's like, look, you raise prices on everyone. Look, I want everyone to buy every single item from Action Force. I don't want people to pick and choose. I want you to buy everything. Same thing with Hasbro wants you to buy every Marvel Legend, every Black Series, and every Classified. If you raise prices, people are going to pick here, pick there, pick here, pick there. So if we just stop, maybe no one raised prices, then we'll have a better opportunity for everyone to, kind of get what they want. But that's not the way business works. That's not the way companies work. There's not going to be a collective agreement that no one's raising prices. It's not going to happen. It's not a perfect world. So I kind of think that's all I got on the tariffs. Again, it's probably, not, people probably want a juicier answer than this, but I don't know. I think it's a really good answer. It's like not raising prices at this time, not worrying about it harshly, not being reactionary, just patiently waiting and just assessing. I think, you could build a better game plan by just watching the lay of the land and seeing how things evolve. And, obviously I don't want to be too late to make a decision, but we have time. I have great people working for me here and at the factory that are advising me on things. And as of right now, it is not a problem. But again, the day this video comes out, it can end up being a problem and the views can change. But as of right now, I'm just staying the course.